Good evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, together with the Presidential Communications Office.
We bring you the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news coverage from the People's Television, IBC, Philippine News Agency, Philippine Information Agency, and Presidential Broadcast Service. I'm Princess Habiba Saripoda.
And I'm Joe Fernandez from Radyo Pilipinas. Welcome to Balitang Pambansa.
Tonight's headlines. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. signs the Philippine Maritime Zones Law and Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Law to assert our sovereignty and rights over our territory. The Office of Civil Defense, or OCD, says that over 30,000 individuals were affected by the onslaught of Marce. Several nations expressed support to the Philippines during the last day of the Manila Dialogue on the South China Sea. The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, expressed confidence that the remaining guerrilla fronts in the country will be reduced to zero before the end of 2025.
The government enacted two pieces of long overdue legislation to define its physical makeup as an archipelago, then cement its claim and assert its rights on its territories in compliance with international law, as our Kenneth Paciente reports.
To further promote the sovereignty of the Philippines and clarify its territorial boundaries, two laws were signed by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., the Philippine Maritime Zones Law and Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Law. According to the President, the Philippine Maritime Zones Act aims to clarify the country's maritime entitlements and scope, which are based on the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. This will also establish the maritime jurisdiction of the Philippines, ensuring the country's rights as an archipelagic state are clearly defined, so that Filipinos can benefit from the wealth of the Philippine seas.
Our people, especially our fisherfolk, should be able to pursue their livelihood free from uncertainty and harassment. We must be able to harness mineral and energy resources in our seabed. Maintaining the primacy of the UNCLOS and the 2016 Arbitral Award as our beacons in the maritime domain, the Philippines reaffirms its sovereignty, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction in our waters. By defining and asserting our maritime zones, we project to the international community that we are staunchly committed to nurturing, cultivating, and protecting our maritime domain.
While the Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Law will strengthen the Philippines' maritime and aerial policies through the designation of routes for international vessels. These will avoid arbitrary international passages through the territory of the Philippines or unregulated entry of foreign vessels into the country's waters. The President stated that this will still be implemented according to UNCLOS, while strictly upholding the principles of equality and respect for other countries.
The designated archipelagic sea lanes and air routes aim to facilitate safe passage for foreign ships and aircraft without compromising our national security, nor diminishing our capacity for good environmental stewardship. These sea lanes will offer continuous, expeditious, and unobstructed transit for vessels and air transport, while obliging them to comply with navigational regulations and procedures, as well as with the air rules of flight safety and protocols.
According to the President, these two laws are important in showing the country's commitment to international rules-based order. They also demonstrate the country's position in promoting and protecting its maritime zones and domain. These laws align with what is stipulated in international laws and show the Philippines as a responsible member of the international community. The President hopes that through these laws, the country can strengthen the protection of its maritime interests.
I therefore call on all concerned government agencies and the local governments to review rules and regulations against these new laws with a view of undertaking the necessary steps for their effective implementation.
The National Maritime Council welcomed the two laws. These laws will simply reflect the country's desire to protect the Philippines' vast maritime resources.
These important legislations underscore our commitment to adhere to international law, particularly the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas. They provide essential guidelines for navigation and the sustainable management of our waters, promoting maritime safety, security, and responsible stewardship of our precious marine ecosystems.
Senator Francis Tolentino emphasized that the two laws will implement the 2016 arbitral ruling, which favored the Philippines. However, the senator insisted that despite having such laws, other countries will not recognize them immediately.
We don't expect an instant recognition on the part of China because they have been disregarding international law. So makakatulong sa atin to kasi yung mga mangingisda natin, number 2, yung Republic Act 12065, alam na nila kung saan dadaan yung malalaking mga barko. Hindi na mauulit yung nangyayari dati sa Zambales, Santa Cruz area, Zambales, na yung mga bangka nating maliliit na babangga na malalaking barko.
However, the DOJ insists the Philippines will strictly enforce these laws as its implementation does not depend on the recognition of other countries. Lawmakers and stakeholders also recognize the President's determination after the successful enactment of the two bills after 18 years. From PTV, Kenneth Pasyente, Balitang Pambansa.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has ordered the immediate ban of the Philippine offshore gaming, internet gaming, and other offshore gaming operations in the country. Under the Executive Order Number 74, applications for new licenses, permits, or authorizations of POGOs and other offshore gaming applicants will also no longer be allowed. Additionally, the EO establishes 2 technical working groups tasked with developing and implementing a comprehensive strategy that will effectively enforce the ban on POGO and IGL and other offshore gaming operators. One of these TWGs, the TWG on Employment Recovery and Reintegration, which is designated to address the impact of the foregoing ban on the affected sectors of the economy and ensure the reintegration of displaced Filipino workers and the provision of assistance and safety nets, which include upskilling and reskilling programs.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. marked the 11th anniversary of Super Typhoon Yolanda by urging stronger action on climate change and disaster preparedness in the Philippines. He emphasized that recent typhoons underscored the lessons from Yolanda, calling for intensified efforts to reduce vulnerability and enhance resilience. The chief executive also highlighted the need to empower local communities and thanked international support for aiding the country's recovery after Yolanda. On the 11th anniversary of the Super Typhoon Yolanda devastation, House Speaker Martin Romualdez urged everyone to pay more attention to and prepare for climate change. He emphasized the need to strengthen disaster response and resilience so tragedies like Yolanda do not happen again. Romualdez also highlighted the importance of creating a long-term evacuation centers through the proposed Ligtas Pinoy Centers Act. He stressed that it is not enough to just be prepared. Strong, lasting structures are needed for the safety of the people. Typhoon Marce crossed over and did her damage, leaving some 10,800 families up north adversely affected by her passage. In addition, 5 bridges sustained damage and rendered inaccessible, plus 8 road sections shut down to traffic and landslides reported in Ilocos Norte and Cagayan province. Our Joshua has the full report.
The Office of Civil Defense, or OCD, reported that over 30,000 individuals have been affected by Typhoon Marce. OCD Undersecretary Ariel Nepomuceno explained the recovery efforts have extended from the previous typhoons Christine and Leon. As of the latest data, 17,019 individuals or 2,059 families are currently in evacuation centers in Regions 1, 2, and the Cordillera Administrative Region, or CAR. Meanwhile, 10,792 families, equivalent to 32,138 individuals, have been recorded as severely affected in these regions. The most recent update received by the OCD shows 5 bridges in Region 2 are not accessible and 8 road sections across Regions 1, 2, and CAR are closed. There have also been reports of landslides in Cagayan and Ilocos Norte. A seawall in Pagudpud collapsed due to the impact of Typhoon Marce. 14 local government units, or LGUs, have also reported power interruptions in Regions 1, 2, and CAR. According to Nepomuceno, while they wait for the final field reports, he assured that necessary aid has been prepositioned in compliance with the directives of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., including clean water, food packs from DSWD, and non-food items such as hygiene and medical kits from the DOH. In their initial report, they have distributed 187,875 family food packs and expect this number to increase.
Ang susi talaga na natutunan namin sa paghahanda, yung pre-positioning of the relief goods for them. Ang ginagampanan naman ng Office of Civil Defense is to make sure on the logistics side, makarating sa pupuntahan yung mga galing ng DSWD.
In addition, the OCD also confirmed that assets from the Philippine Coast Guard and the Philippine National Police, such as generator sets, have been deployed to affected areas like Ilocos. Under the leadership of Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr., a call was made to LGUs for immediate preemptive evacuations to avoid casualties due to the storm's impact. The OCD, in partnership with the DILG, also called for the use of geohazard maps to improve the relocation efforts for communities frequently affected by disasters.
Huwag na dapat maging kaisipan ng mga kababayan natin na dati hindi naman kami binabaha, dati wala namang landslide. So yung mga kababayan natin at mga pinuno na mga kasama natin sa local government units, again, huwag na magdesisyon base sa mga nakaraang experience decades ago. Hindi na valid yun. Iba na ngayon.
For PTV, this is Sharms Espina, Balitang, Pambansa.
The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, encouraged local government units to utilize the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, Mines and Geosciences Bureau Geohazard Map to reduce disaster risk. During a Malacanang press briefing, NDRRMC Undersecretary Ariel Nepomuceno noted that the map could assist LGUs in identifying areas where preemptive and mandatory evacuation should be implemented. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. visited areas heavily impacted by the recent typhoons, including Barangay Sampaloc and Talisay, Batangas, referred to as Ground Zero, where a landslide claimed at least 20 lives. In addition to data from MGB, Yusek Nepomuceno said they are incorporating information from various government agencies, such as FIVOX, as well as international sources.
She has been harassed and bullied to no end in her attempts to keep house and surrounding areas intact by the most powerful navy on the planet. Yet nearly all the countries in the free world hail and adore her commitment to the ways of peace and to abide by the rule of law. Our Patrick De Jesus on the envoys of Europe, Australia, and America, expressing awe and renewed support to the country's determination to hold on to its rightful claim on the last day of the Manila Dialogue on the South China Sea.
On the last day of the Manila Dialogue on the South China Sea, several countries expressed their support for the Philippines regarding issues in the West Philippine Sea. This amid tensions between Chinese and Philippine vessels in the country's exclusive economic zone, which have led to collisions and water cannon incidents. The harassment has even extended to the airspace, a matter that has long alarmed the international community.
The PRC's target is not only the Philippines, but also the lawful sovereign rights and jurisdiction over natural resources of Vietnam, Indonesia, and other ASEAN coastal states. Use of water cannons, ramming, and other aggressive actions demonstrate a disregard for lives and livelihoods.
The Indo-Pacific is a key important region which will determine the future of the international order for the century to come, and that's why it is so important that we are engaged here.
In connection with this, they called out to avoid miscalculations while expressing their willingness to help the Philippines.
That is Australian government's priority. Let's prevent conflict at all costs.
Solutions require dialogue and collective action, not force.
The National Security Council believes the government has taken the right path by not seeking help from other countries in conducting resupply missions, following the incident in Ayungin Shoal in June, where and when a soldier even lost a thumb. A provisional agreement was reached between the Philippines and China to ease tensions.
Bringing in the Navy of a foreign superpower into a Philippine mission, I think, will really escalate issues with the People's Republic of China.
Meanwhile, according to a Chinese think tank, China may object to the enactment of the Philippine Maritime Zones Act and Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act. Filipino expert, however, believes these laws should not be seen as an act or excuse for escalation.
The temperature of the South China Sea is going down compared with the last year. So I think Beijing and the Philippines and the Manila can use the diplomatic channel to manage the disputes with each other.
Hindi naman natin in-expand, no? Kung ano yung ating inaangkin, kinaklaro lang natin dahil ever since ang inaangkin natin ay palaging ayon sa batas.
From the People's Television Network, Patrick De Jesus, Balitang Pambansa.
Typhoon Marce exits the Philippine area of responsibility. As of now, there is no wind signal hoisted in the country. The northeasterly wind flow and the periphery of Marce will also bring strong to gale force gusts over the following areas: Batanes, northern Cagayan, including Babuyan Islands, and Ilocos region. The threat of storm surge flooding along the country's coastal areas has ended. As a result, a final storm surge warning was issued at 2 p.m. today. People residing in areas deemed highly or very highly vulnerable to these hazards are encouraged to follow evacuation orders and other instructions from local authorities.
Coming up, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, believes that the number of NPA members will be reduced to 0 by year-end.
The Philippine National Police, or PNP, welcomes the creation of a task force to probe extrajudicial killings. More stories when Balitang Pambansa returns.
Ang mga overseas Filipino workers o OFWs ang isa sa mga itunuturing natin na mga bagong bayani ng ating bansa.
Ang OWA Operations Center operates 24/7, receiving all requests for assistance from overseas Filipino workers and from their families here in the Philippines.
Ang bilis talaga na action ng OWA kasi nakita nga yung medical condition niya. Nagbigay pa ang OWA ng pangkabuhayan.
Kasama sina Attorney Jeffrey Gallardo at Justine Lagamon. Lakbay Tugon, Presidential Help Desk, ngayong linggo, alas 7 ng gabi. Dito lang sa PTV.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s administration is confident that the remaining guerrilla fronts of the Communist New People's Army, or NPA, in the Philippines will be eliminated by year-end. Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief General Romeo Browner Jr. reported a significant reduction in NPA strength from almost 3,000 members in 2023 to almost 2,000 this year, and a decrease in guerrilla fronts from 7 to 4. That many insurgents are expressing a willingness to surrender, and the government continues combat operations while offering reintegration incentives through the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program, or ECLIP. The National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, or NTF-LCAC, stressed ongoing vigilance and support for community development programs.
Environment Secretary Maria Antonia Yulo Loizaga will head delegation on an official mission to Baku, Azerbaijan for the 29th conference of the parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Secretary Loizaga conveyed cautious optimism as the Philippine delegation aimed to build prior commitments and establish new ones. Together with other countries, they will work to set a new global climate change finance target for 2025. As a result, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR chief, highlighted the significance of COP29 in addressing funding shortfalls for climate action. The Philippine government, via the Technical Working Group, is collaborating closely with the fund's board co-chairs to finalize the host country agreement, which will grant the board the essential privileges and immunities for efficient functioning. Senator Cynthia Villar emphasized the importance of doing business. This is her advice to our fellow overseas Filipino workers or OFWs and their family members who are working hard for their families. She gave this lesson during the opening of the 13th OFW and Family Summit. The senator suggested that they should invest even in small business and avoid falling for scams. She mentioned that there are small businesses that are affordable or for OFWs and do not require a large capital.
Magnegosyo. Kasi yung mga pinadadala sa kanila ng pamilya nila, kesa maubos lang ng walang katuturan, di gamitin nilang puhunan sa negosyo para pag uwi ng OFW, may hanap buhay na yung pamilya, hindi na kailangan bumalik, di ba, sa abroad.
The Philippine National Police or PNP said it welcomed the Department of Justice or DOJ's task force investigating the alleged extrajudicial killings during the previous administration's war on drugs. According to PNP spokesperson Police Brigadier General Jean Fajardo, the step to be taken by the DOJ is a welcome development for the PNP. Fajardo emphasized that they have already supported the DOJ in its investigations with the case of Wesley Barayuga serving as proof. In fact, Fajardo stated that the CIDG is expected to file charges against those involved in the Barayuga murder case.
We have always been supportive of the efforts of the DOJ to conduct investigation po while the PNP is conducting its own investigation, but dito po sa mga sensational cases po na nag-crop up po during the congressional hearing.
The Department of Education Cordillera Administrative Region or CAR is advancing culture-based education through Project Igabay, which aims to inspire indigenous youth with pride in Cordillera heritage. Philippine Information Agency Cordillera's Quintes Van Totanes has more.
The Department of Education Cordillera continues to promote culture-based teaching and learning through Project Igabay or Indigenous Peoples' Gallantry, Assertiveness, and Bravery among our youth. DepEdCar Regional Director Estela Carino said the Igabay aims to instill among learners the importance of Cordillera culture for them not to forget their roots and to learn how to give importance to their identity.
Kailangan din nating i-preserve, no, kung ano man yung kinagisnan natin na kultura. We have to do this, otherwise time will come, we have to go to Hawaii and search for who we are. No? So this is the purpose of this.
The DepEdCar was able to produce Igabay Resource Book Volume 1 containing the cultures and traditions that must be preserved. The book seeks to promote cultural sensitivity, respect to cultural diversity, and understanding of the cultural expressions of the indigenous peoples.
Talagang sobrang laking tulong ng Igabay book para sa pagtuturo namin, lalong-lalo na sa subject na MAPE, araling panlipunan, lalo na sa mga at iba pang asignatura.
Mabuti yon dahil bawat Pilipino, bawat mag-aaral, nalalaman nila kung saan nanggagaling ang history natin.
The contents of the Igabay Resource Book were validated by IP leaders from concerned indigenous cultural communities.
The formulation of volumes 2 and 3 of the book is on the pipeline. Clintis Van Totanes of PIA Cordillera, Balitang, Pambansa.
A first-ever senior citizens community care facility has been set up in Malaybalay, Bukidnon last month that offers comprehensive care and holistic services to the indigent elderlies. The center offers free consultation, medication, and treatment, as PIA's Northern Mindanao correspondent Bernadette Ipan reports.
The National Commission of Senior Citizens launched the first ever Senior Citizens Community Care Center in Mindanao in October of this year. It is located within Malaybalay City Hall compound in Bukidnon, aiming to provide comprehensive care for unprivileged seniors. The facility offers holistic services to meet their varied needs, including free consultations, check-ups, and medication. This initiative brings great joy to 79-year-old Nanay Juanita Ipan, who appreciates the special attention given to senior citizens.
Pasalamat gyud ko nga karong panahon na giatagan na og dako nga pagtagad ang mga senior citizen.
The National Commission of Senior Citizens also explained that other agencies are ready to support through healthcare services, mental health support, recreational activities, and educational programs to strengthen social engagement among senior citizens, helping them feel they are a valued part of the community.
Usab kani ka sentro kung asa tanan ninyong panginahanglanon anaa dinha ang inyong wellness and medical.
According to Malaybalay City Local Government Unit, prioritizing an annual budget allocation for senior citizens remains a top focus.
Personalize lang ang atong pag-atag o serbisyo sa senior citizen. Dili dito itong sa una na o ananay sobra, ihatag sila. Kung mangayo, ay harapot tagaan. Para na ako, every preparation, the annual budget, kinanglan naakit sila. Kinanglan yun na ang atong generation karon, we must be active sa atong gobyerno.
This care center is open to assist all senior citizens in Malaybalay City and neighboring areas. Members of the senior citizens community also expressed gratitude for the establishment of this facility, which will greatly contribute to their health and happiness. The national and local governments continue to support efforts to ensure a good quality of life for our senior citizens. From Philippine Information Agency Bukidnon, Northern Mindanao, Bernadette Ipan for Balitang, Pambansa.
The Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, is inviting national and local government agencies as well as state entities to participate in the annual Parangal Gawad ng Kahusayan sa Komunikasyong Pampubliko Awards. The awards aim to recognize outstanding communications campaign and initiatives that enhance public awareness and engagement with government programs. Categories include Public Service Campaign, Government Innovation, Outstanding Digital Campaign, Broadcast Excellence, Outstanding Public Communicator, and Champion of Information Integrity. Agencies are encouraged to submit entries by November 22, 2024, the details of which are available on PCO's social media platforms. Additionally, PCO, in collaboration with the Integrated State Media News, will announce the guidelines for submission of entries for each category tomorrow morning. The initiative promotes excellence and collaboration in government communications. A 20-year-old and completely blind athlete, Andrea Estrella, made history at the Spartan Trifecta World Championships in Greece. Arian Malyare from Radio Pilipinas 2 Sports tells us more.
Andrea Estrella became the first blind female to conquer the Spartan Trifecta, which consisted of 3 different distances and obstacle race over 3 days, and emerged as the silver medalist of the female para category. Estrella and her coach guide Ron Alcantara clocked 10 hours, 29 minutes, and 14 seconds in the race that featured the Spartan sprint of 5 kilometers with 20 obstacles first day, the Spartan Super of 10 kilometers with 25 obstacles on day 2, and the Spartan Beast, a 21-kilometer event with 30 obstacles that included walls, bucket curry, balance beam, and monkey bars. Tamara Jansen of the Netherlands bagged the gold medal as finished the race 3 hours ahead of the Filipina. Estrella, whose participation is supported by the Pilipinas Obstacle Sports Federation, told RP2 Sports that she is overwhelmed with her silver medal win, which proved that disability is not a hindrance to what a person can do and that obstacles are part of life that needs to cross and finish. Estrella, who hails from Quezon City, is a college student taking up Bachelor of Elementary Education, major in Special Education. Meanwhile, 4 other Pinoy para-OCR athletes finished the race and had respectable finishes. Caleb Sim Jr. placed 4th, Renson Embradura was 5th, Mark Joseph Casidsid was 6th, while Ken Tumangan ended 7th among 11 male para competitors. From RP to Sports, Aryan Malyare, Balitang, Pambansa.
And that concludes our rundown of the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news and information from all across the nation. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Joe Fernandez.
This is your trusted news source, always ready to inform and serve the people. Catch Balitang Pambansa again next week at 7 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m., and 9:30 p.m. for more updates and developments. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Princess Habiba Saripaudak, and this is Balitang Pambansa.